All right, here we go again. Buckle up. We're just going to light the Shabbat candles because the other candle is still burning. And again, it's kind of early for the other service that was coming up last week, so I knew there was going to be a little difference, possibly this week. So again, Hashem doesn't restrict me to lighting candles before a certain time because we do a lot of 24-hour/7 stuff, like a priest and like the temple did and all that. So what we're going to do is we're going to light these candles before we theoretically run out of time. So let's get to this. Again, based on Hashem tells me it wasn't like this years ago. Just some rabbis had too much time on their hands. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. Now, people will light the candles first, or the clay pot, or the clay oil lamps, or the oil pods, but I pray first. I think that's more representative of how we should be before Hashem. We should petition Hashem before we engage in any action instead of after. So the clay, always the alarm's going to go off if I don't hit this air purifier for about a minute. So yeah, I almost spaced it out. They were dinging my head with, "Why don't you go do this? Why don't you go do that?" Waiting for FedEx. I don't know if they're going to deliver my dining room table. It's a pub table kind of deal, or my breakfast nook, whatever this thing's called. Hopefully, they're not messing around at that level. I contacted the other seller and I said, can you, because he said, I want to refund your money. I said, can you just send me another one? So I don't know. Who's that? It's kind of weird. The lady across the street has issues sometimes. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on her, help her out when I can. She actually stopped by on Thanksgiving and tried to give me turkey. It was nice. There's like a pickup there, and I don't know who that is. I don't know any of her friends, so I'm not that worried. But the electric people, okay, there they are. Somebody's there with her. She looks fine. Oh, it's the guy who is one of the maintenance guys here. The electric company was here earlier trying to service her for something. I'm sorry. Well, again, if you want to pick apart the statement, kill them all, let God sort them out, you can. But the reality is, what's his name? The other SEAL guy, politician, congressman, whatever his name is. He's been out of the loop because the guy with the eye patch. He's been out of the loop because he was hated for a while. Something, not Crawford, not Carruthers. What was that guy's name? Well, because they're essentially they're going to be eradicated. It's a good way to say. It's just the way those operations work. Crenshaw, right? Right. So it doesn't matter what you say when you get to the concept of the operation. Right. Again, I don't know what you all can't see, but we're us as a nation are not constrained by this idea where we have to take these foreigners to court, right, and wait for them to get here. The guy in Colombia is like really the president there. He's really kind of disappointing at this point. Right. Well, because he's like, oh, look, we're arresting people now. And this is how it's done. Like, no, it's not how it's done. It didn't even work when we had did a like a police action. Right. Because they make all this money off it. So who they fooling? Right. Well, if you destroy the cocaine trade and you destroy the opiate trade, Central and South America's got to go get a job. You can't sit back on their TV and watching their TV dealing dope. Right. So it really doesn't matter what's said per se. I mean, obviously, excess shouldn't say, kill them all, let God sort them out. But if he said it, it still wouldn't be illegal based upon the concept of the operation. Thanks. So I thought I put that on my project. As a reminder, my project, Mr. Gross his spirit must be here. My shop class from like 9th grade or something. I had a notepad, and I put an AR on there. Like you have a project you have to do, so I have to do a notepad with like almost like a letterhead, or what do they call that? An emblem, a company logo, that kind of thing. So I did peace through superior firepower. I thought it was kill them all like God sort them out, but I was wrong. It's Mr. Gross's spirit reminded me it's peace through superior firepower. I had an AR on there. I like printing class. Printing class was cool. Back in the day, now everybody prints their own stuff. I guess something like that you still would get printed, like a notepad with the logo on it. So in 9th grade, I was definitely already reading, like, because they're trying to fog my memory of it. I was definitely already reading Gung Ho and Soldier of Fortune in 9th grade, because that's where I got that from. Correct. Thanks, Larry. Maybe it was 10th grade actually. I'm trying to remember, because it was where the smoking alley was, because the class was near the smoking alley. So it must have been the senior high, not the intermediate. So maybe in 11th grade actually. Probably 11th grade. 11th grade. It was 1980, I guess. Yeah, I guess ever since Reagan got in the office. Oh, I wonder how that happened. I didn't even know the guy. Honestly, I did. Before I joined the Army, I didn't know who Reagan was. I must have been inside,
They have fat-free Ready Whip.
Interesting, huh? So I guess I should take a photo here. Should we do a close-up? I don't know if they're going to deliver that FedEx. I was wondering if I should call. They're saying they deliver till 8:00. I usually don't receive it that late, but it wasn't attempted yesterday. It was supposed to come in yesterday. Trying to get this thing lined up a little bit. See what we ended up with. Well, again, some of what we're doing, we're actually helping those nations restore. We're helping the immigration system restore it, so that there are people from those nations that would like to, be able to, you know, immigrate to the United States lawfully. And even this is it. What came up earlier. Even those people that are unlawfully immigrating, there's a portion of those. If we restore, or if we had restored the immigration system, they would have come here legally. Right. They wouldn't have been moved to that criminality. But again, it is what it is. So we're actually helping those nations and those people, to move to something where they don't get their heads cut off and things like that. As strange as it sounds. So there is a group of people that will definitely benefit from what we're doing in the future as we restore lawful behavior in those systems. And still kind of in weirdness. They ever since they broke in, they've been increasing the attacks. So which makes me wonder if they had drugged something. Again, you could be drugged with bacteria. There is reasonable suspicion, I would say, that the Boeing whistleblower was drugged with bacteria. Thank you. Now, the funny thing is, Bongino, they said, well, Bongino, what happened when you told Hannity that there was a cover up, and they're going after him? And he's like, well, I was paid for my opinion. Now I'm paid for the facts. And again, he has access to the facts. Right. Oh, he didn't say that part, that he now has access to facts. He goes, someday I'll be paid for my opinion again. But, opinions are like assholes. So don't be. But so don't be one. So, but the fact is, psychically, he might be right. We don't know. Nobody's done that investigation. Which means his opinion was that it was a government cover up, and there was something else in there. I forget what the other one was. Let's see if I can find it. They may not have investigated it. Why? Because it's a deep state psyop. They turned that guy into that. And apparently he's rolled over and he's admitting it. That's a good guy for that. So Sam, again, if somebody psyoped into it, they might be a totally different person in about 1 hour after it. Unless they want a serial action, and they'll stay on the person. So he may have been radicalized into it. Now, as far as he supports Trump, yes and no. He might be saying that because Trump's president, but I don't know. Maybe he did. So what Bongino said may be actually psychic. Well, my first question was, could they have known? I said, no, we're not going to bust a black liberal around January 6th. Right. Or theoretically, black liberal. I guess he's claiming he's somewhat conservative at this point. But the other part was that there were radicalizers hidden behind CIA type toolkits. And that's why they didn't go that far, because they knew people were being radicalized. Now, again, people have a responsibility at a certain point to abstain from being radicalized beyond a certain point. Right? That's where those physical actions begin. Okay, so the question is, was Bongino right? So I have to go through that and look at that and figure out exactly what he said, because there's another part to it. It wasn't that it was just a government cover-up. There was something else about who it was.